My name is Hitik and I'm an incoming 2024 student at Schulich. I will be part of the BBA program, and I'm just so excited to get to know everyone and start off my whole university journey and experience. I know for a fact that a lot of us 2024s are bummed out about having our first ever semester virtual, but I do know for a fact that when campus opens and when the situation's safer, we are going to have an amazing 3.5 years ahead of us, and I'm really just looking forward to that. But apart from that, to give everyone a bit of an insight into myself, I really like photography. I feel like it is something I would love to take up as a side hobby. But apart from that, I really love to debate, and I have been an active member in the Model UN community since 3 years now. And I'm just really, really passionate about that. But apart from that, I am originally Indian, but I have been born and raised in Dubai. And that just makes it so much more exciting for me to start off my whole university experience in a whole other country. And I'm just really looking forward to it.
That sounds so exciting. It's so interesting to hear about your passions. So you said you're an international student.
Yes.
Why did you choose Canada and specifically Schulich as the school you wanted to go to?
Right. So before I get into why I chose Canada in specific, I'd like to speak about why I wish to study abroad in general. So I know for a fact that having lived in Dubai all my life, I'm pretty sure I've been in my own comfort zone and environment that I'm really used to. So I do know that studying abroad would really open my horizons to different cultures, perspectives, and just give me a better idea of how it is to manage yourself independently. And that I feel would really help me grow personally and just develop so many more skills that would be beneficial for my future. But moving on, I chose Canada in specific because it definitely provides a very high quality of education to all its students. It is very multicultural. Like I know for a fact that Toronto is one of the most diverse cities, and I chose Schulich. It was actually one of my top preferences while applying, and I chose it because it obviously has a wonderful repute for having an amazing community. I know that for a fact even before I started my program because I have interacted with so many other 2024s, and everyone just so welcoming, friendly, and everyone just so open to talk, whether it is 2024s or even the upper year students like yourself, who I'm speaking to right now, and just so many others. And everyone just so willing to give advice, and the community feel overall is amazing. But apart from that, I knew that Schulich has a very reputed brand name in Toronto, especially. Schulich has a lot of connections in the industry, and the program is obviously of very high quality. And the location is also pretty good because it is a 20 to 30-minute subway ride from downtown. And lastly, the tuition was pretty decent for the services that are being offered, and it really was a no-brainer for me.
Did you always want to go into business, or were you considering anything else while you were growing up?
That's actually a good question because as a kid, I knew for a fact that I wanted to become an actor because I was very dramatic growing up, and I still am, as most of my friends say. But from that, after a few years, obviously, I felt like I wanted to become a teacher or a professor or any like a profession in the teaching industry. But once high school started and I got a better idea of what the commerce subjects were like, whether it was economics, business, or even accounting, I realized that I was just very interested in the content part of it. And that was throughout high school. So I really knew that I was inclined towards business, especially. And to test a more practical side of it, because I just studied in high school, right? It was very theoretical. I even took up a few internships in a few companies in Dubai. So I did one in the marketing department and I did one in the HR department as well. And that just gave me a better idea of how business departments really operate in a more practical world. And that just reinforced my decision of wanting to get into business even more.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you wanted to be an actor as a kid.
I
Um,
know.
yeah, because like no one, it's like very rare to have someone like growing up wanting to go into business. So it's interesting to see how people have evolved from their childhood to and then
Yeah.
come here and everything. Are you excited for anything particular in your undergrad experience, especially at Schulich?
If I'm gonna be honest, I'm excited for almost everything that Schulich offers, whether that's the case competitions or just interacting with people or networking for that matter, and even attending lectures. And I know how boring that may sound, but it's just part of the whole university experience. So I'm gonna be honest and say everything that Schulich offers is something I'm very excited about.
Is there anything like in specific then coming to Toronto that you're most excited about to experience?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, it is so multicultural, and I just really like getting the exposure to speaking with people from different backgrounds and cultures. Because I know for a fact that here in Dubai, a lot of us are mostly brown. So there's mostly Asians, Indians, Pakistanis, and it isn't very multicultural, or at least it isn't in my high school. So coming to Toronto, I am very excited about just getting to meet new people and getting a good idea of how everyone's like and just starting university over there and everything about Schulich, whether it is case competitions like I mentioned before, and every single extracurricular activity that Schulich has for its students.
Yeah. Okay, as a follow-up to that, what are you most nervous about? Or
So
what
I
are you
wouldn't say,
expecting to,
right,
yeah.
I wouldn't say that I'm too nervous about anything in specific, but I initially was nervous about the whole idea of being an international student, just fitting in into a whole new environment. But having interacted with so many students in Schulich and just understanding that everyone's so friendly and accommodating, I came to a consensus that it wouldn't be too tough for me, and I knew that I would enjoy my time over there. So I wouldn't say that I'm too nervous about anything when it comes to social aspects. But when it comes to academics, I am nervous about stats because I've heard that that particular course is just one of the toughest. But I'm just going to try my best to work as hard as I can for it.
Yeah, don't it is challenging course. I'm going into my fourth year, so it's been a while since I've taken stats. But yeah, as long as you go into it with the mindset that you will do fine, as long as you keep up with the workload, you'll do fine. I know people that have excelled in stats. It's just more challenging than the other first year courses.
That's such a relief, honestly.
Yes, don't think so negatively about it. Just go straight into it thinking like as long as you stay on top, you'll be fine. Um, is there anywhere you see yourself in 5 years or 10 years, that any sort of goal that you want to hit by the time you're like 30?
That's an interesting question because as of now, if I'm going to be honest, I don't really know where I'm going to end up in that period of time. So for me, I feel like that would really depend on what I specialize in. And right now, I'm thinking marketing, but I wouldn't be too certain just yet. So I feel like one of the best parts about Schulich is the opportunity that it gives its students to experience all areas of business in the first 2 years, and upon that make an informed decision of what we wish to specialize in. So like I said, I'm interested in marketing right now, but I'm just going to be more experienced when I go through the whole program for the first 2 years and just make a decision then. And I feel like that would affect where I would be able to picture myself in the next 5, 10, or 20 years.
Mhm. Definitely. That's the best part about, yeah, Schulich, the fact that you have 2 years to do it. Other programs are like they tell you to decide in 1 year, and that can be really challenging, especially when you haven't been exposed to like different types of specializations.
For
And
sure,
also,
yeah.
and it's also great because you can specialize in more than one too. You could specialize in two or
Yeah,
three. So
yeah.
don't worry, you have a lot of time. And do you have any, so you said you like doing photography. Do you have any goals on that? Or is it just a side hobby thing that you don't really see yourself doing?
Honestly, yeah, honestly, I just feel like it's a side hobby. It just that when I do take pictures with my iPhone, they end up coming really good all the time. So whether it is for taking pictures of my friends or just any kind of picture in general. I just really enjoy that as a side hobby. And it's ironic because I wanted to take up the photography non-business elective first year, but I couldn't because I didn't have a DSLR. So that kind of is annoying. But apart from that, I feel like I just really enjoy the whole idea of it as a side hobby.
What elective did you end up taking?
So right now, I've taken the acting elective in the winter semester. You'd probably know why.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really excited for that.
Did you have any role models or like someone you've always looked up to as you grew up?
As cliche as it sounds, I would say my parents.
Yeah.
They've just been my biggest support system growing up, whether it is dealing with any issues that I would have presented to them or any sort of trouble that I got into. They definitely did make sure to shout at me after, but in the end, they agreed and they just like understood and dealt with whatever there was. So I would say they're my biggest role models.
Yeah, I don't think that's a cliche answer. I think that's actually like that makes sense. So, do you have any advice for anyone that wants to take wants to take a risk? Because I know coming to like going abroad for university is such a huge risk, and it's all about like you have to face difficult challenges and whatnot. Do you have any advice for any student that might be in your position like coming next year that don't know if they are ready for that kind of risk yet?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question because a lot of international students that I know prefer to stay domestic mainly because of the whole nervous aspect of it and just being ready for this kind of a change. So, my biggest piece of advice would just adopt the go for it mentality. Like, if you are really passionate about wanting to study abroad, like I was, if you stay determined, motivated, and just dedicated to the whole process in general, like that's what I did personally, you should be good. And just throughout the way, whatever obstacles that come along your way, knowing that you can get through them and actually just reaching your end goal of studying abroad, I'm pretty sure it'll just all be worth it if you adopt that go for it mentality.
Were there any like sort of experiences growing up that kind of shifted or changed you to adopt that kind of mentalities to be more outgoing and to take more risks?
Definitely. Believe it or not, growing up as a kid, I was one of the most shy and introverted kids there could be. It actually got so bad because every time my friends would ask me to hang out with them, I would just say no because I prefer staying in the company of myself. But as I entered high school, I realized the importance of just stepping out of your comfort zone and getting the experiences that really would help you develop as a person. So I clearly remember 3 years ago in February, it was my first ever Model UN conference that I attended. And surprisingly, just having attended that, it just changed my life forever, whether it was getting the exposure of stepping out of my comfort zone and just getting a platform to step out of something that you're not too comfortable with or you would have been. So getting that experience just really changed me. And right now, like all my friends say, I'm just one of the most outgoing, lively, extroverted people they could find. And I feel like that transition in itself from being a very shy kid to now a more outgoing one is just so beautiful. So to anyone that's watching, if you are shy or if you just prefer sticking in your comfort zone, you really wouldn't know what's really out there for you unless you just muster the courage to say yes and try it out. So I would definitely have to say that.